Tuesday Mindset Call. So today is going to be a super amazing call. We're going to be doing, yesterday, Allison and Alice did the Getting Right Started call, and they focus a lot about, objections and role playing. So today we're basically going to be doing a part 2 of that. We found it super beneficial, and this is a way that we all can learn. So what did you guys feel was the most asked questions yesterday?
The biggest objections?
There's 4 big ones.
Yeah. So we narrowed it down because all of them fall under these categories of, right? It's time. I don't have time for this. Money. It's too expensive. MLM. Oh, I don't do MLM. Selling. I'm not a salesperson. So these were the kind of, most of them fell into these 4 categories.
Interesting. Okay. And how many of you guys still get these questions? Do you get these questions? Is this MLM? Is MLM?
Yeah, sometimes.
Really?
Every day.
Right away. It's like, I get it, right? I get the question, but when you know how to deal with it, when you're equipped with how to respond, it doesn't matter, right? So I get the question and it comes and we go through it. We deal with it.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Because then it's a challenge, right? It's like, oh, let's see how we're going to crush this objection. Okay. So did we discuss this? Did we go through all of these?
Alice and I did one objection and response for each of these. But, there were so many that people were writing in the chat that we didn't get to go through. And it would be so awesome to hear different, just different versions of the same questions, because it takes sometimes different wording to make it click for each of us.
It's like Kevin just put in powdered foods. I get that a lot. Yes. I don't take supplements. I only eat food. That's one of my faves as well. I get that a lot.
Yeah. Okay. So I get that too. What do you say when someone says that? I don't take powdered foods.
Neither do I. I'd never take powdered foods or supplements. I only have organic whole foods that have been raw dehydrated. I don't take supplements. You agree with them? I wouldn't do that either. That's why I only have whole foods. Want to join? Agree with them.
Okay, so I love that, right? So you agree. So now when you agree with them, you're putting their fences down. They're like, oh, because they expect you to become aggressive when they say something like this. But when you agree, they're like, oh, right. Oh yeah, me too. What are they going to say to that? Right? So I do the same thing Alice does. And then I ask a question. Yes. What does whole food mean? What does it mean? What does it mean, powdered food? What does it mean? Do you have matcha? Oh, you go get it and you ground it. You're like, how? Oh, it's in powder. Oh, okay. So then you have them start thinking. Like, what does it mean, powdered food? Every day, something we have has a powder in it. But is it whole foods? Where are you getting it from? So then I become like an investigator in their thoughts. And then they start thinking about it. They're like, oh yeah, you're right. I just bought that yesterday. It's Four Sigmatic. Oh yeah, I use that all the time. Is that powder? Interesting. Okay. So you can form a conversation like that with them. Let them start questioning themselves.
I just want to say I had an example of this work really well today. Okay, so it was someone that Alice Santos here. So she introduced me to someone who is a nutritionist who her objection was, I only eat whole food, plant-based. Okay, and so I said, amazing. This is exactly who we're looking for. Then you fit our, and then so she went on to say, I only eat food that I can hold with my hand and cook with. And I said, interesting. So, first of all, when you're buying, food, I know she lives in the UK. So I know she's not, growing her own year round. She's buying it from the grocery store. And so first I had to sort of say, interesting. So where do you buy your food? And she said, the local grocery store. And I was like, okay. And that's been, because she said, we don't need, when you eat whole food, you don't need any supplements when you're eating whole food, as if she's like educating me. And I was like, well, in a perfect world, you're absolutely right. If it was grown without any pesticides, without herbicides, without being, if we all had our own garden, without being picked 4 to 6 weeks before. And then, okay, so that got her thinking, okay, because she was like, I only buy from my local grocery store. And I was like, interesting. Well, that's coming from around the world and all that. And then she said, and then I said, an interesting, so when you're cooking your food, right, aren't you denaturing it? And she was like, well, but yes, but it's whole food that I can hold in my hand. And I said, well, you can hold this. I mean, it's just a different form. So if you were to mash your sweet potato, would it not be whole food still? Versus if you were to it's just like you had to, and she now gets it. She's like, wow, this sounds brilliant. She's open to hearing more. And it was just about, if I had just been stumped right there when she said, oh, I only eat whole food. And I'm like, okay, not knowing what to say, we would have lost her. But because I continue to ask her questions, it was just a matter of her not knowing enough about it.
Brilliant. That's why you're Red Diamond.
I was about to say that is brilliant. That makes complete sense. And this puts her guards down. And she's like, oh yeah, that's true. The more you get them to question themselves, this is what we need to do. And I love how you became an investigator in this. Okay. Let's see other questions. Okay, how about the soil quality? You have to also talk about how about soil quality? Whole foods. The food is not the same way that it used to be. Our soil quality is not the same. The nutrients that you're buying, it's not the same. Are you going from a farm? Are you going to a farm and picking it? I don't think so. You're going to a grocery store. So you have a lot of middlemen that are going through before you actually go to the store and purchase it, right? So this is a lot of like mineral deficiencies already. So this is things that you need to think about. Because when you're talking about holding the food, like what? How does that make sense? I love what you said about the like mashed potatoes. When you mash it, is it changing?
Yeah, it really was like, I think people just have this programming. It's like, we know one way is the way, but that's the same thing when people question, oh, I should ask my doctor before eating this. It's just because it's a different form of salad. But when you go ask your doctor if you were eating 6 microgreen salads, like, you wouldn't go and investigate more, but it's just a new concept for people. So you really do have to educate them on what this is, on the ingredients, and that this is the quality of the food, and that it's a different form. So what? It's a different form. We're always doing different things with our food, and this isn't a very efficient. I talked about also the efficiency of the delivery system of this food. There's so many points on that.
Yeah, and that's a huge seller, right? It's airshipped to your house, right? And no plastics. I mean, I love that. The efficiency is huge. And if someone cares about water waste, all of these things, we have so many points that we can talk about.
Yeah.
I love Kevin's one. I can't go vegan. Great. Well, this isn't just for vegans. This is just food. This is for everyone. It meets everyone where they're at. I'm not trying to get you to go vegan. I'm trying to get you to get organic whole foods into your body so you can live optimally for where you're at. Everyone needs food, right? Here it is, the best food on the planet. No one's asking you to go vegan, but you probably will by doing this, but we don't say that.
Okay, so what I do in this case, I love that, Alice. I say, okay, this is not about going vegan, right? This is about getting your body in the optimal state, whatever that may be. So I'm like, you just start it and see what you start craving, right? Because I always tell them dairy is a non-negotiable. You have to cut dairy out of your life completely, even though they're not vegan. I'm like, you don't need to be vegan, but you can't have dairy, right? And then you see how the alkalinity changes. Naturally, they start gravitating towards the right foods, right? And you always meet them where they're at. If they tell you I can give up fish, I can give up chicken, say, okay, no problem. Switch to organic. Have them switch to organic, and you know what happens? They naturally start tasting things and they're like, I don't need this anymore. Because I've had that happen so many times that I have customers who are like, they're like, there's no way I'm giving this up. And then by day 3, they're like, oh yeah, we're not craving anymore. Allison, is there anything you might add? You want to add?
Yeah, definitely. I say, I give an example of what happened with me. I always say, if Taz had told me I would have to give up coffee, I would have said, fuck off, because I loved my coffee. So I'm glad that Taz, when she introduced this to me, didn't tell me that I was going to give it up. It's so interesting. What happens is when you start bringing this into your life, and then you have your same habits that you were already doing, but you're bringing this in, what happens is one of them sort of starts to go and the other one lifts up, right? So like when I started, taking this green juice in the morning, I had so much energy. I was feeling so good. And then I would get to experience on my own that having a sip of coffee wasn't feeling right in my body anymore. So I always give an example for myself, how I wasn't ready to give up certain things, but how naturally, if you allow this in and you just give yourself the, gentle, kind, go into it, let it meet you where you're at, as Alice said, because this meets everyone exactly where they are at. So we never tell anyone, I mean, yes, we can suggest how to do it optimally, right? And I always tell people, if you want to get the best results, follow it as closely to the guide as possible. But there are so many, this is a journey. This is a lifetime journey. So I always say this is a process. Trust the journey. Just listen to your body.
Oh, so
I
good.
love that. Okay, we have another question about the keto. Okay, let's talk about that.
Ooh.
Okay, if someone's saying I'm on a keto diet, what would you guys say?
Oh, sorry. Keto diet. I've actually never had that one, so I'm brainstorming at the same time. Keto diet is the subtraction of carbs. Am I correct?
Right. So it's a lot of meat and a lot of fats. So bacon and avocados, let's say, or bacon and butter.
So you're not allowed to have healthy food. You're not allowed to have salad. Like you're not allowed.
No grains.
Great, because we have the best superfoods in the world with the subtraction of grains. Like this is just adding superfoods into the diet you're already at. So what I'd say, that what's the harm in adding in superfoods into your diet if there are no grains in there anyway and you're not allowed them? Keto is not good for you. I wouldn't say that, but like that's not good.
Okay, go ahead.
Well, I use you as an example, Taz. So I'm like, the person who introduced this to me actually lived keto. I know you were doing it vegan, but you were living keto when we met, pretty much, and you still do. Like, and so it's like you don't have that many. And I'm like, this is exactly for you then, because it is I'm just like, this will give you the added greens, added minerals, and vitamins. And I know they don't eat sugar, right? When you're keto, you're not eating like fruit with sugar. So I would suggest, I say there's no added sugar in anything. I mean, I know they don't even do fruit sugar. So pretty much what I would do is probably connect them with someone like who could, I would say, in my case, I'm like, I know someone who was keto when they started this. And, I don't know, Taz, what would you say? Because you have the most experience with this.
Okay. So I get this question all the time. Okay. I have a lot of keto people that reach out to me. Okay, so I am keto, but I am vegan keto. Okay, so that means I don't have sugar. I don't have processed sugars, right? This is what it means. So you know what you can have with keto? You can have that's monk fruit, right? You can have monk fruit, and we have monk fruit, right? And then you have low glycemic sugars. So that's berries. That's all the berries. So no like high dosage fruits, right? But all the others you can have. And this is what Purium has. So this is the difference between keto, is that they look at the carbs of everything. So when they see the power shake, they're like, oh, there's too much carbs in that. But if they do one scoop of that instead of 2, it's keto. Okay. So this is what I tell keto people. I'm like, first of all, I'm like, meat keto is very dangerous for your body. I don't recommend it. It's very dangerous. So I ask them, why are you keto? So what usually happens is that they look at short-term goals. Okay. So if you are like, let's say 300 pounds and you become keto, you will lose weight fast. So that's what they look at. They look at the short-term goals, but they're not looking at the long-term effects. Because what happens to the body is that you get a lot of organ issues long-term. So we are looking as a lifestyle change. So you have to make them aware that long-term, you're going to put stress on your organs. Because having these high fats and all these animal protein is going to cause harm to your organs, right? And we have the purest vegan protein. So if you're keto, I mean, we have everything for you. Instead of 2 scoops of the Power Shake, put 1. That's it.
And you know, we even have a video that I think it was that new one that we have. It says it in the video. This is good for keto. This is good for vegan. So it like lists it, you know, in there that this is good for all diets. And like, I love that you said, what are your goals with keto? Because a lot of people will say it's to lose weight. So you're like, great, this is for you then, because this program is exactly designed, you know, we can make it can be a weight loss program. Of course, we all know there's a path to take and make it a weight loss program that's sustainable. So if you're meeting them with what their goals are and achieving, then I think that's a solution.
And I have people who are like diehard keto for like 20 years, but their whole like system is out of whack. They're exhausted. They're feeling fatigued, brain fog constantly. So I had to rework their whole system with the ULT. And they're like, okay, we started introducing grains and we've never felt better. And now we can finally sleep. So the more you ask questions and investigate, now you're going to find out what their goals are and how to retrain their bodies.
I just want to add something. It's hi everybody. It's just that like keto is like a survival mode that your body goes into, right? So like, you know, back like we're wandering the desert, there's no food. What does the body do? It goes into ketosis. Does it make sense for the body to always be in that state? No, like that's how I like meet people with that question. It's like, because you know, you never want to make them feel bad about what they're doing, because again, right, they go on the defensive, and also you just don't want to make them feel bad. And it's just telling them like there's a purpose for it. That's what I say. Like there's a purpose, you know, like, you know, people will use it. Let's say they're going for a surgery, they need to lose weight quickly, you know, like show that but it's not long term, right? Like that's a lot of taxation on the liver. And then also, right, and then I'll link it to traditional Chinese medicine, where like anger is also resides in the liver, and that's another unprocessed emotion. It's just like there's just so much, like you're just tonifying the liver, which processes so much. So like, why make it harder? Let's use it when we need it, but long term, let's find something that's more sustainable for like our mental health and our physical health, right? Because when people go into ketosis, they typically also need to take like different types of minerals just for their brain to function. That's another thing, right? Like 30% of your carbohydrates that's going to your brain for functioning. Your brain needs carbs. Like we're carbon-based bodies. Like it only makes sense. So like, I just got so passionate talking about it because I used to get so many people that were keto, and it was just like, you know, like just find another way, right? Like, and also as human beings, like we see color. It's normal that we're meant to eat fruit, you know? It's like, anyhow. That's my
Perfectly said, Becky. And keto was like designed for epilepsy, right? So if you're going through epilepsy and you're keto, well, sure, have to do it healthy, you know, not meat-based. Okay. Shall we move on?
Pamela has her hand up.
Okay, go ahead.
Hi, guys. Thank you, Alison. So just want to say, Becky, you're totally right. And Taz, I mean, keto is such an extreme of things. And we know that it's a short term, but it's very effective for people. And some people who are wanting to go that way, I think that we should have a tool to, you know, to respect their desire, even if it's a short term desire, to kind of help them to go through in a healthier way. And we do have the grain-free pack. I haven't tried it personally, but I think that will be a very awesome solution for keto people who don't want to they would need to make a lot of calculations to get to the, the power shake into their carb count to go into ketosis. So if we don't want them to struggle, grain-free will be a very good like first step for them, and then probably transition them into a ULT. That would be my suggestion.
Whatever we can do to help, and if they're set on it, that's a really good one. So if you guys haven't seen the grain-free pack, that's a great recommendation. Absolutely, to get them healthier. Mm-hmm.
I love that. I don't think we talk about the grain-free pack enough, so there you go. That's a solution. Perfect. Next.
The grains-free pack it's not going to qualify because it's a smaller pack. It's not the same price point as like the ULT and all the ones that do qualify. I think it's a lot less, isn't it, guys? So I don't think that's ever going to be a qualifying pack. But on that note, like I know people who came into Purium with celiac who don't have celiac anymore just from Biomedic. So a lot of people that have issues with grains, I'm like, okay, let's get you on Biomedic for a little bit and see what happens, because I think they're going to be able to tolerate grain a lot more after.
Yeah, that's actually one thing I get a lot. And maybe Taz, I know a lot of people get this, okay, who are gluten sensitive, gluten intolerant, celiac, and they'll look at wheat germ extract in the Biomedic and have like, it's like, they just, so I would love if you can touch on that, because I know I personally how I deal with it, and I have helped people also go through this, but I'd love to hear, I know you have so much experience with like gluten intolerance and stuff, like what you say to them about the Biomedic.
Absolutely. Okay, so before going on to that, I want to talk about the grain-free pack. So the grain-free pack is the same price as everything else. So it's $364 with our loyalty. So it's not a small pack. It's a full pack.
Interesting, but it's not a qualifier yet. Maybe that's something that we should bring up to you.
I'm going to check and see if it qualifies, because it should.
Because it's in that price point. I thought it was a small pack. So this is good. Thank you, Taz, for clearing that up. It is something. So people that are really worried about the grains, it's got Biomedic in it though, doesn't it, Taz? Or does it not?
1 second.
It doesn't have Biomedic. Okay, so it's going to have like ionic elements and cracked cell chlorella or super lights for the gut.
Let me see. Sorry, this disappeared. Yeah, so there's no Biomedic. No, so there's none of that. So it's Aloe Digest, Can't Beat This, Green Spectrum, Biofruit, Apothecary, and Super Aminos. Okay, so if you want a gluten-free pack, Family Nutrition.
Mm.
The Family Nutrition does not have Biomedic. So there is the ionic element plus the Aloe Digest. So if you are celiac, okay, I recommend Aloe Digest and ionic elements. Together, they will make Biomedic. Okay. If you are telling me you are gluten sensitive, okay, and you're mainly having gluten-free stuff and you're not celiac, then I suggest, I'm like, okay, then you can have the Biomedic. Because if you're eating gluten-free food, that does not mean you are having zero trace of gluten. You are having more than 1% of gluten, okay? And Biomedic has the same amount if you're having gluten-free foods, okay? But if you encounter someone who says, because I have encountered these people who they tell me, no, we don't have any gluten-free foods. Then you say, no problem. We have the Family Nutrition pack that the ionic elements and the Aloe Digest will work the same without any traces of gluten. Okay? But always make it clear to them that the Biomedic does have gluten, because it does. But a very minimal amount. Yeah, it's minimal. But a lot of times people just concentrate on that.
I just wanted to say that Marianne, right? She's part of our team, and she's diagnosed celiac, and she uses Biomedic, like no problem. And I'm sure at any point, if anybody reached out to her, she'll be happy to share that. And she's been suffering from that for like over 10 years. So.
And Samantha too. And Samantha, who has her hand up, please share, Samantha, your experience.
Hi, yeah. So I last year was diagnosed with celiacs and with Hashimoto's. And I refused to go on any medication for either of them. And I've just kind of been trying to, hone in on my diet. And I bought a juicer, and like I was juicing all the time. And then finally Purium came into my life because it was like nothing I was doing on my own was really making me feel any better. But yeah, I didn't even quite realize that it had gluten in it. So I'm just like going in all in, 2 in the morning, 2 in the evening. I've done 3 ULTs in the last 5 months, under 5 months. And I've done 2 biomedics twice a day, every time. And I've never had any problems. I had a lot of positive results. I never even really experienced any negative symptoms, not even on my first one. No crazy detox symptoms or anything really. Just every day I felt better and better, and I've still continued to feel my best, even though I eat the biomedic with gluten and I'm celiac. So yeah, I can vouch for it as well, and I'm open to talk to anyone who needs any inspiration as well.
Share that story, girl.
Exactly. So all of you celiacs need to start sharing the stories, right? Because everyone needs to hear this. Because we have so many people with success with celiacs using biomedic, but you have a rare few who have symptoms, who have reactions from the biomedic. But you just have to be transparent with them and let them know that there is gluten in biomedic, and if you have gluten-free foods, you'll be fine, right? So it depends on the person. We can't tell until we investigate more.
Yeah, and you know what in my experience, it's the people like Sam who didn't even like think about it or know before that I've seen the best results with. It's the people who have it in their head that it has gluten and they're going into it and they're expecting something. I'm telling you, I've worked with so many people now who are celiac, and when they don't know, and I'm not telling them, they just ask for it, they get it, and I'm just like, it's a blessing when they don't know, because it cures their it actually helps them to tolerate gluten. It's crazy, but I've seen it now that like people have gone through. It's like, when you have to heal something, you have to almost like get the it's like you have to get some of the bad thing in you or whatever to like heal it. So actually it's such a trace amount that when people fixate on it, then they start to see, like, they feel things, and when they didn't know, it's like, it's beautiful. It's beautiful.
It's a great point, right? It's all in the mind.
I mean,
Go ahead.
Oh yeah, Lisa had a question that I wanted to go over, because so this is not about this is actually more, it's good because it's a mindset one. So if someone has expressed that they're interested, but they are just not actually, they're not doing the thing, they're not actually ordering it. So that happens all the time, right? You have so many people who are responding, yes, I'm interested, and you follow up with them and it's like nothing, right? So first of all, I want to say is it's frustrating. It could be, right? But it's really important that we have a lot of people in our funnel, so we're not fixating on those individuals. And when they see that we're just moving on, we keep going, we're consistent, that's when I've had all those same people. Luckily, I did not pressure them. I am so grateful that I gave it their time, because they've all come around. And I drip on them every now and then. I send them things and I keep them in the loop, but I never say like, hey, you said you were going to order, like, why aren't you ordering? Because that will like push them away. Or I never get like frustrated or show any frustration, because I'm just like, I'm holding space for you. I'm obviously really busy. I have so many people I'm working with, but please, like, whenever you're ready, I am here. And I just make sure to be consistent on my end.
I love that, because it kind of links in with scarcity mindset. Oh my God, that one person isn't getting back to me, like my business is over. And we've all been in that place. But that's why what Alison said, like, you've always got to be having a funnel prospecting. There's so many people you're talking to. And it's that I say that to them as well. It's like, I'm talking to so many people right now. And then when I get back to them, if they're not responding a week later, I have a note and I'll be like, hi, I'm just reaching back out. I'm so sorry. I've been so busy. I haven't forgotten about you. I've just been slammed. But I know last week we were talking about the cleanse, and I wanted to know if you're ready to get started with me. So it's all verbiage. It's all posture. Remember, you're busy people. Like, we're busy. So it's yeah, posture. So this is all verbiage and mindset training. That's what I'd say to that.
Perfect.
Oh, good. You know, that is so good that she said, I just want to say that when she said, I'm sorry, I've been so busy, like, you know, forgive me for not getting back to you. That puts them like, oh, because like they knew they're the ones kind of ghosting, but they're like, oh, you've been so busy. They want what, when you're, you know, when you're the one who's busy, the same way when you're the one asking them questions, it's like you're the one in the, I want to say, you know, the power seat away. Like you're the one who is the more, like you're more desired. And I also want to say there's so many other ways we can get third party validation to something like that, right? Like there's so many things, because sometimes coming from us, it may not be enough for them to actually bite the bullet. Like, you know, there may not be enough for them to actually purchase it. But if I get them on a call with Taz, you know, like here, let me, and I always make this about serving them. I'm like, let me connect you with someone who can answer all your questions. I want to make sure that you're getting all of the information that you need. You know, I want to make sure that you have your answers, you have your questions answered. So let me connect you with my friend Taz, who's just a wealth of knowledge. She's super busy, but I'm going to see, let me just see if she can get on a quick call. What time would work? What would be the best time for you?
Oh, perfect.
Good stuff. Oh shit.
I thought you had a question.
Amazing. Trying to think for those, what other ones are you guys getting? What can we talk about? Because a lot of it's usually, a lot of them are really individual, like certain health conditions. What was one I got today? MLM. I got today. My partner today was going, you know, I don't know about MLMs. And I was like, oh, hold up. Let me just speak to you about this. And then it's the questions, isn't it? The why, like, what's your experience with MLMs? What do you know about them? Because then you hear their story of this really shitty MLM that tried to scout them for some like coffee company or like insurance. And then you can very quickly like break apart and have a conversation about how this didn't even start as an MLM, our company. It was a wholesaler for Garden of Life. And they decided to turn into an MLM because they thought, we want to give the money to the people with the message here. We don't want to be paying the middleman in marketing. We want to properly monetize this and help the people sharing the message. So, that's another one. I love MLM.
I love the objection of MLM. Can we like go into it a little bit more? Because I find, especially for new people, that's still one that stumps people. So someone today said, is it an MLM? You know what my response was? Yes, it is, with so many exclamation marks. I was like so excited. You know, I'm like, I would like, of course it is. I wouldn't do it if it wasn't. Like, this is exactly why. And she like was really thrown off by my response. But it really worked. Okay. She is like, it was like, it put everything to rest. I was like, I in a voice note right away, I got on a voice note. Hey, sweetie. Oh, nice shoes. I said in a voice note that everything I love about it, you know, what I love, like I had the same resistance as well. Like, I'm like always like this, I love this objection. I actually told, I'm like, I love it because that's exactly how I was. I never would have joined an MLM, but it was sorry, it's so loud in here now. The ingredients, the more I learned, I was like, this is in alignment with everything. And now I get to get paid to share it. Like, what? And I get to help others do the same. So I was like full of excitement, and she had no objection after that. She was like, okay, I'm open.
Just be hyped.
Perfect.
What you do. I love this one because this is one I get, and I want to direct this to you, Taz. Actually, the doctor said I can't do it, which is one I get. Doctor said that I can't do this because of whatever. It's ridiculous, but yeah.
Okay, so then I would explore what's the whatever. Why? Are you allergic to something inside? So what is it, right? Because there's nothing in the ULT that would harm any medication that you're on. There's nothing. It's food. The same way you can eat, you can have this. If you have an allergy, then don't have a certain product. That's it. If you're allergic to food, if you're allergic to apples, don't go eat apples. That's it. That's the only issue. So if someone tells me my doctor says I cannot do this, this is what I actually hear. So they're telling their doctors, oh, I want to do a cleanse. Okay. They're not actually sending this to their doctor. So I would ask them, why don't you bring this to your doctor and show this to them? Right? Because I'm certain if they show the ingredients to their doctor, they won't be having this objection. Because I'm sure if they're saying where I'm doing a cleanse to their doctor is like, absolutely not. Because when you hear of a typical cleanse, it's a juice cleanse and it's malnourishing and, it's not what we offer, right? So this is probably what's in the doctor's mind. So as soon as you say, bring the ingredients to your doctor and be transparent with it and let him see. And that usually breaks down all the walls.
Yeah,
Thanks.
I got today, my doctor said my doctor said I don't need aminos. And I was like, that's interesting. I was like,
The building blocks of life?
Interesting.
Yeah, I was just very
Wow.
curious about that. I was like, that's interesting. And I know she's vegan too. So I was like, that's interesting that like your doctor's saying you don't, need aminos. Aminos are the building blocks of protein. And then I just, what I did was I just shared with her more information about the aminos. And she's like, oh, sold. Like it was like just about, she just didn't, it seems scary to her because it's like, it's just foreign. It's like a new form of eating aminos. So it's just about education, like sharing tools that can educate and more information, like Taz said, like the ingredients,
And if you encountered this when someone say, my doctor said I can't have the aminos. So the aminos are actually found in the physician's manual. Okay. So every doctor's manual, they have it inside and it's called MAP. Okay. Master aminos. So maybe rewording it this way and say, well, let your doctor know it's called master aminos and he should know about it. Because if he's a legit doctor, he'll know about it or he can go look it up. Then that would help objectify as well.
Mm-hmm. And related to that, Sam said someone was told to stop the core 4 because of her blood pressure, which is insane because it actually reduces inflammation and blood pressure. And someone was told to come off it because it will affect their thyroid. It's just education. That's why I'd show the ingredients to doctors, because that's literal insanity.
Okay, so the super aminos can raise your blood pressure. Okay, so this has happened with some people. The aminos have caused blood pressure increase. Okay, everything else will be fine. So I would suggest someone like, okay, just cut back in the aminos. Or cut back in the aminos and add the white American ginseng. Because the white American ginseng lowers blood pressure, right? So too much super aminos can cause high blood pressure. But everything else should be good.
So I want to say that okay, so my psychiatrist at the time told me I shouldn't take the aminos because it was gonna I was diagnosed as bipolar and that it could, has tryptophan, right? A little bit.
Yeah.
And I'm so grateful that I just went with it anyways because it helped my mind so much. So sometimes doctors are going to, also they say not to take the power shake if you're on beta blockers because of the amount of B12. But the people I know who are on beta blockers and who are taking the power shake didn't listen to their doctor. Or like I can't say that I can only say this off the record.
Yeah.
But that's the truth.
Yes. And if you have thyroid issue, you absolutely need a ULT. Okay. So that's funny that that person said that because thyroid issue is gut health. And decreases also. What is that? Okay. What's our next question, guys?
You must get more objections than this. Come on, guys, dig deep.
Lisa has her hand up.
Oh,
go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead, Lisa.
Sorry, I was typing. I had to hurry up and get back to the other screen. Hi, I've been working so hard all morning. I'm sorry, I'm still in my PJs.
Okay.
Anyway, so my situation is I have the accessibility to a whole bunch of people that are doing competing, like fit bikini competitions professionally. And I'm having a hard time with them because they're so set in their trainers and they need whey protein. And some of them are vegans, but they're eating so much soy, GMO soy even. And it horrifies me because I know the truth. And so I can't get them to understand. Do you have a suggestion for that? How would you approach that? What would you say?
Becky,
okay.
take this. No, where are you, Becky? Unmute yourself. Where are you? Is she still here? I'm just unmuting her. Is she busy? Maybe she's busy.
No, I had to go pee. Okay. I just heard my name, but I didn't hear the question.
Oh, so you didn't hear the question. Okay, can you please repeat it?
Yes, I was saying that I have accessibility to some beautiful people that are doing, they're building muscle, doing bikini competitions. There's probably a better name for that, but they're competing professionally and they're moving on up. And I just can't get them to understand how much this would help them. They're stuck on their whey protein, and the ones that are vegan are stuck on all their soy. They're eating so much GMO soy. It's horrifying. I can't get them to believe me. How would you approach that?
Yay. Okay, so I used to compete in bikini bodybuilding, and at the time I was having like so much. No, when I did it, at first I had vital wheat gluten. Like I was always having like seitan, and then at the end I was having so much tofu, and I felt like shit. Like I literally felt so crappy, and it was actually right at the end of my like right before my competition that I was introduced to Purium. Like I finally accepted like my ego side. Anyhow, and it helped me so much. Just like I was felt so yucky because like all that, like there's benefits to soy sometimes. Yeah, there is, but it was just depleting me of minerals. So that's when I started adding in ionic elements. So oh my goodness, I would be so happy to offer to like support you one day, like talk to somebody, like if you wanted me to, I'd be super happy to do that, just to share with them, because it's like a complete mindset shift. So like how they're thinking is like they have to eat X amount of protein and like that's all that matters, but they don't understand that it's not just about protein it's about a protein absorption. So like back then I was having like my body weight in protein, like 130 grams or more a day, and like now I'll have like 70 grams and like or less, like, and it's because it's like the quality, not just the quality, but it's the type of protein. Like 6 grams of spirulina protein from spirulina is very different from 6 grams of protein from even soy. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's not the same. Your body can better absorb it. And so they have to be open, and maybe just seeing someone else that was already in that already did that can be helpful. So like I'd be happy either to support you in that way, or if you want to just show them my page or anything.
Okay. Thank you. I have one follow-up question. Same people, is that when they're in there, and forgive I'm just learning the lingo of this, but when they're in their deficit mode, they're always talking about like, oh, I can't move, I'm so tired. Like, and I'm thinking, if you were drinking Purium, you could be in deficit mode and be thriving. Am I wrong?
No, you're not wrong. You could still be tired, because I'll give the example of like me being crazy and doing the 10-day cleanse and still working out. And like, yeah, like I could feel tired, but I would just like, but they have to wrap their head around is that they want to actually add, like have more of the power shake. They're going to be thinking, oh, it's carbs, but like no, again, like because the body's going to utilize it right away for energy and to help them build muscle. So they don't have to feel that exhaustion. Like it would make a huge difference if they were having a power shake like during that time, like 3 times a day, and adding like what I do is I always like during that 10-day cleanse, like I did 3 tablespoons of spirulina in like every day. Like I would always add that, like and ionic elements, the super xanthan, the be energetic, like all of that. Like it's they can thrive. They don't have to feel that crappy, because like what you literally feel like when you're working, because at the end, like you're still working out, and like you're very aware of your bones. Like you just feel so like drained, and like it shouldn't feel like that. And I got a window into that when because I'm like, okay, I want to see what it feels like to train like I used to train and do the 10-day cleanse, just because I want to know. And I was like like nowhere near how like fragile I felt when I did when I competed without Purium. So like it's totally possible. It's just them understanding like not to be worried about the carbs in the power shake, and it's just like not going to affect their body the same way as like any other way, because it's sprouted and it's just different.
I appreciate that so much. Thank you, because they're losing their female monthly stuff too, and I
Yeah,
think
that
that's
happened to me
horrifying.
too. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much.
Okay, no problem.
And Lisa, I want to add that they concentrate a lot on macros, but they're not looking at their micros. Okay, and that's what's important. You need to look at your micros and nutrient density. This is why they're having all of these things, and they're having inflammation in their body, right? And we have everything as designed to lower inflammation.
Excellent. Thank you for your
time. And you know what? Lisa, use the Purium blogs, because we have the Purium blogs, and if you type in holistic fitness, there's a whole blog about that. You know, you can also just send them the blog. Take a look at this. You have other athletes as well who wrote articles about that.
I apologize. You said blog, but what was the thing I'm looking up on the blog?
Athletes, holistic fitness.
Athletes.
You can type in anything. Like just do it as a trial. Like type in anything. Family, thyroid, adrenals, and you'll see an article will pop up. And this article, send it to someone. If someone's talking to you about fitness, I got an article just for you, you know? Like I did a segment today about allergies. I looked it up. Oh, I found one about allergies. Send it to someone, right?
Okay. Beautiful. Thank you. Very helpful.
You're welcome.
We could go on to one that I get too, and that Sam brought up was I'm already healthy. I'm already vegan. I'm already healthy. I don't need this every day.
Okay, so I'm the best example for this. Okay, I've been vegan 13 years. 13 years, and I had eczema flare while being vegan. Okay, my eczema was through the roof while being vegan. How does that make sense? If you cut out dairy, right, shouldn't your eczema go away? So you think, but it's not true, right? Because everything you're eating is not organic. And even if you are eating everything organic, aren't you going outside? Right? My son was born completely vegan, and he still had glyphosate toxicity. Right? So I mean, there's so many things that you can talk about. Just because you're eating healthy doesn't mean you don't have contamination of glyphosate toxicity. Does that answer that? Everyone needs biomedic. Doesn't matter how healthy you're eating. And we eat so healthy. This is why we incorporate this in our life.
Exactly. I always say that's exactly who we're looking for. We're looking for the health nuts. Because also not everyone and also about the business end of that, it's not everyone, they may have their own organic farm. I know many people, by the way, on this call even who have their own organic farm and they're still here, but you know, they may have that. It's a way they can share this with people who don't, right? Like this is for people who, you're the perfect spokesperson then for health. You're the person people are listening to. Then exactly, these are the kind of people I'm looking to partner with.
And then I like to say, that was me too. I was raw fruitarian when I started this. And guess what? I still had leaky gut. I still had depression and crippling anxiety. And it wasn't until I found this after 6 years of finding my health, starting from veganism, that all of that went away. So it's exactly the kind of thing that you should be looking into if you care about your health, because this is the next level.
Perfect. Anyone else? I know we get so many objection questions all the time. This is the time to ask it, guys.
And if you think of any after this, just hit us up. Yeah. Send them to us and we'll work through it together, because they're going to be more. They're forever objections. Yeah.
Advice making your own content consistently. Well, Purium has all of the content on Google Slides already done for you. All you have to do is use them and post them. And if you go to iShare Purium on the business blog, they have ideas what you can post every day. You know, so it takes the guesswork out of, you know, thinking about what am I going to talk about today.
Mm-hmm. Sam has her hand up.
Go ahead, Sam.
You put yourself on mute again, Sam.
Okay, here we go.
Okay.
So I'm curious how you respond. Like, I know they're not supplements or whatever, but when people say, like, I don't like taking pills or I don't want to take supplements, I eat enough healthy food, I don't need that. It's kind of like the healthy one, but more focused on the fact that it's not supplements, and just your verbiage to kind of get them to see that.
What I don't
Alice,
take
you want to start?
either. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't take supplements. I only take whole food. This is whole organic food. This is raw dehydrated whole organic food. No supplements here. We don't believe in supplements. I haven't taken supplements in my entire life. Agree with them. I don't do that either. I just have whole food. And as for pills, a lot of the things that we have, like Biomedic, you can empty that out of the little capsules. The only one that's in true pill form is Super Amino 23, but there is a reason that it's like that. There's a reason for everything to be the way it is so that it can be absorbed and utilized properly in the body. So again, if they have the problem with that, cut them in half and eat them. But it's like, what's more important to you? Like, you've just got to get over that. And the more you just get used to the fact that they are in that form, it's just everything is formulated for a reason. Like, Dave wasn't like, lol, I'm going to make Super Aminos massive pills just to annoy people. It's like, they have to be like that. You know, sorry, it's just the way I think about it. So just encourage them, be like, it's going to be so good. Once you've had that, that's your entire protein for the day. And a lot of it's mind over matter. Just think of it as it's legumes. It's all just plants that have been like raw dehydrated into a little pill. But it's like, how far are you willing to go for your health? Like, is it really that big a deal? Like, this is going to change your entire body. This is going to change the way that you are. So it's worth it. So just help them get out of the mindset of these are pills. Like, no, this is just food. It's food that's created, like, you know, processed, I guess, in a different way, because everything is like processed. If you're mashing potato or whatever, it's the same thing. This is just food in a different form. So just help them to understand that. Or just link them with us. If you need help with anything like this and you're like unsure, of course, 3-way calls are the way to go. If you're like, I just want to learn how they do it more, always get us on a 3-way call to explain to people, because we've done it more, and then you'll learn that way.
And Sam, I would also share the millionmommovement.info/recipe. In this page, we have everything we use in Purium and we incorporate it in food. You know, from salad dressings to, like, you know, cacao bites to fudge to everything. So you can just send them a recipe. Look, this is whole food. This is how we legit eat. Hi, Allison. Okay. Anyone has any other questions? And we'll wrap up. And you know, you can message us anytime with any other questions, because I know we have so many.
I have one quick question. I know we're at the top of the hour, so I'll ask really fast. Amazing. Love how you guys always provide the support. Love you guys forever. So I have heard from, not myself, but I have a brand partner who had someone come on a ULT, but they just had the worst experience. They gained weight. They felt worse after, and I feel like it was mindset, but I'm really curious what you would say if someone is already kind of having an experience, but they're not having like this amazing experience that we kind of told them they would have, you know, because most people do. So I'm really curious how you would kind of provide care for someone like that.
Okay, so if someone's, yes, sure. So if someone's going through this, there's an underlying issue. There's something else. Okay, so it's probably a mineral deficiency. So we tell them to stop. I would tell them to stop, and let's introduce ionic element. Let's introduce Zincade, Aloe Digest, something gentle. Okay, there's other things going on. They need to do blood work. They need to do other things. Okay, so what happens with a ULT if you have flares or if you're gaining weight, there's something else at play. Okay, so you just let them know, agree with them, say, okay, I hear you. They probably have something that they don't even know they have. Okay, so just add minerals. Minerals would be the first thing I would just start adding into their life.
Yeah.
Anything you would add, Alice?
Yeah, it's just a lot of people, it's always mindset. People go in and a lot of people will get bloat and be like, it's not working for me, I'm putting on weight. I'm like, well, there's something, like Taz said, there's something underlying there, because if you're getting bloat, that means there's something going on in your body. So sometimes if people, so I've had people have been like, I'm being sick. I'm like, wow. And that makes me realize their body is in such a high state of acidosis. The acidity level in their body is so high, it's rejecting food that's high alkalinity. So I say, take it down, take half of the amount, have 1 scoop instead of 2. We'll just slowly introduce it, because some people are literally so sick that they can't even stomach this food. So I'm really like nice with them. I'm like, you've got to keep going. This is an indication that your body needs this more than most people.
And you know what's so funny? Like when I get that question, I tell people, I'm like, how about smell? Because when we eat with all of our senses. Okay. So I'm like, you have a problem with the smell of the power shake? Can you take the smell? Sometimes they're like, no, we can't even take the smell. Sometimes if they smell it every day, I'm like, smell it, don't have it, then it changes. And they're like, you know what? I'll have a little bit. Because they eat with all your senses. It might sound ridiculous when you say it at first, but it's like, try it. Okay. And bloating is completely normal. This is a form of detox. Okay. So there's different levels of detox. You have phase 1, you have phase 2. So if they're going through bloating, you tell them it's okay, keep going. But if they're getting like legit weight gain, this could be something more underlining. Okay. So you just need to like listen to their concern and what's actually happening. Because some things could be detox symptoms or something could be something else. Okay. So, this is a great topic. We could probably do a part 3 in this. And whenever you have a question, just like write it down. So when we come here, we can answer all of the questions. We get each and every day, and we become pros at answering all of these questions. So thank you, everyone. I'm going to be closing the call, and Becky and myself are going live on Facebook. We're going to do a Q&A of the ULT. So this is something that's great that you guys can come on, ask questions. You can have your clients, your customers come on as well and ask us questions, right? This is an open platform. Okay, love you all. Have a great, great Tuesday. Bye, everyone.